What are the Democrats doing today? Where are the Democrats? Are they in the Senate today? No, they're out campaigning. With Medicaid, we went into that and we eliminated the fraud, waste, and abuse.
You're relying on that $187 a month for an average family in the SNAP program that we have failed you.
I have a few clips lined up for us to look into about what MAGA Mike Johnson had to say yesterday on Halloween about this Trump-led shutdown. If you can, leave us a like on the video. It helps us out a ton. It gets us out there in the algorithm. We're trying to get to 30,000 subscribers, and let's just get right to the discussion.
What are the Democrats doing today? Where are the Democrats? Are they in the Senate today? No, they're out campaigning. While critical SNAP benefits run dry, the Democrats have skipped town. They've abandoned their post in the Senate, and the reason that's so important and noteworthy for the American people is the Senate is the only place where this can end. The last hope of reopening the government before millions of Americans go hungry.
So, fun fact, all 47 Democratic senators just 2 days ago extended legislation to keep SNAP benefits funded during the shutdown, in which 15 Republican senators publicly voiced support of. MAGA Senate leader John Thune sent all the Republican senators home rather than putting it on the floor. The bill also has majority bipartisan support in the House. Mike Johnson himself says he won't bring it to the floor because it would alleviate pressure off the Democrats. The idea that this is on anyone but MAGA is fantasy that all polling shows nobody is falling for, really. Like, Democrats are trying to extend legislation to keep the important things funded. They did so for the military. They wanted to do so for food stamps, all of this. Meanwhile, Trump is sending money to Argentina. Republicans refuse to negotiate, and they want your costs to go up.
If you are in a position where you can't feed your family and you're relying on that $187 a month for an average family in the SNAP program, that we have failed you.
I had to add this part in because she says the quiet part out loud and seemingly isn't smart enough to realize it as she's doing it. They did fail us. That being MAGA, who again controls all levers of the government and whom refuses to negotiate for any of the votes they need to keep it open, whom refuses to bring any of the bills to the floor that all Democrats support that would fund things like food stamps, who find $40 billion to bail out failed small government principles in Argentina, but can't find anything for the 40 million in America on food stamps. The idea that there are cult MAGA members still willing to back this are sickening and almost disheartening. Like, the amount of people I see almost rejoicing in the suffering families are about to experience all because of MAGA. But hey, who you vote for matters. Real effects to maybe consider rather than being caught in the next transing the kids conspiracy you see on Twitter.
With Medicaid, we went into that and we eliminated the fraud, waste, and abuse. We got able-bodied young men without dependents off the program. They were never intended to be there. They're sitting around on their couches playing video games. Yes, that's an actual study. And they're siphoning the resources away from elderly people, disabled people, and young women who desperately need it. And so the funds were being depleted.
No, it's not an actual study, which is why he didn't cite anything, and he never cites anything when he says this. By the way, over 1 million veterans are on food stamps. 80% of those receiving food stamps have a child, an elderly person, or a disabled person living in the household that they care for. This representation of everyone who receives food stamps is lazy has never been borne out in data and just mirrors fascist rhetoric of the past. I mean, Nazis essentially labeled people who relied on assistance parasites to society. Trump and MAGA are just here doing similar things, as if anyway that your worth is determined by your ability to slave away at corporations to keep the top 10% wealthy so you can barely tread water. So much so that like food, water, and shelter are dependent on it. To me, I think it's insane that the idea of work requirements for food stamps exists. Why aren't we forcing corporations to pay people enough to where if they work, they don't need food stamps? Why is that where, well, you have to work and you're going to need food stamps? That doesn't sound like a failure of an economic system to you. Again, they want this suffering not just for you, but for your child or anyone in your family that you would be caring for, because it allows more privatization down the line.